We're following a documentary filmmaker who is putting an ad on the internet saying, documentary filmmaker looking for suicidal individual to follow from first preparations to final act, and kind of the tragedy that ensues after that. I was just like, I was coming across that dilemma, that conflict of when is it too far, when are you going too far as a documentary filmmaker, when is it the taboo becoming too enticing to actually stay away from it, and it all kind of developed from there. My roommate actually in Germany was a documentary filmmaker, and he actually had the idea to make a documentary about a suicidal person, which he never did, but the idea actually comes from him. The film wasn't scripted, so I knew we'd have a lot of improv, and I didn't want to have to throw out scenes because people were getting confused about the names. I think it was easier for the actors. Also because I wanted the actors to be themselves and not make up a persona for the film. And I think that was much easier by calling each other by their real names. And I think the better scenes happened when I gave them less material to work with. If they had to come up with most of the stuff themselves, I think we got the fresher and better scenes in the end. Well, we didn't want to hide our kind of lo-fi approach, because we didn't have money. We knew we'd have to shoot on DV, and we wanted to find a story that could be shot on DV, and there would be an aesthetic choice, rather than making a period drama that just looks bad on video. We wanted to do something that looks like a home video, and where that actually is an effect that strengthens the story, rather than to weaken it. So we wanted to go all the way with that, and that's why we decided to shoot 4x3, really handheld. And it was actually really difficult because our cinematographer is a very, very experienced, very good cinematographer who will frame everything perfectly. And what we needed was that kind of, that feel that it was someone who didn't know anything about film filming this. So it was kind of tough for him to get into that mindset and to screw up the shots, and to frame them wrong, and to have a shaky camera. What helped was that the zoom, our camera was a pretty old camera, and the zoom was broken. So there was no smooth zooming. Even if he tried, he couldn't have zoomed smoothly. So we have all that shakiness, which I think really adds to the kind of homemade feel.
Watching Dailies with Daniel, we figured after the first 2-3 days that this is not good. This is too nice, too well composed. Always the camera ended up being where it should be, and that felt like very feature filmy. And then we kind of took it back a few notches. Many times I would look the other way and not look at the viewfinder, because then the compositions ended up being too perfect, or just purposefully stay with the camera somewhere where you don't really see enough.
Everyone wants to make it as glossy as possible and as big, and no one would ever shoot 4x3 in film school, because everyone wants to pretend it's a huge film. And I mean, I experienced what comes with all that, the slowness, the huge team, all this stuff. And this movie was kind of the necessary death, was supposed to be exactly the opposite. 2 people behind the camera, a team of four actors, 1 director who also did sound, and the cinematographer, and no production designer, no makeup, no costume, none of that stuff. So we could cramp the whole team into 1 car, and we could just go. No lighting, just available light, and we were so quick in that. I think it really helped with the performances and the acting, because they didn't have to wait for the next setup, for this and this and that. The emphasis was so on the acting and the story that I think it really liberated us from all the other stuff. Like for our thesis film, we would shoot in one direction, and then we want to turn around, shoot into the other direction, and the producer would go, "You can't shoot into that direction. We don't have the permit for that direction of the street." Yeah, and we didn't have any of those problems with this stuff.